So I've been doing something new with the moon cycles, something about beginning things on the new moon and trying to manifest, and just the whole way that it's gone about in mainstream astrology and spirituality never resonated with me, really. I just kind of naturally fell into doing this, starting with the full moon. That's the beginning of my cycle, and the explanations are kind of written out here. Today is the Leo full moon, and the full moon represents a point of totality. It's culmination. So previously we saw the new moon as a seeding and the first quarter moon as a difficult time leading up to fruition, like the Wednesday of the week, the hump of the week that we just have to get over. I have an experience of life that kind of eliminates the brutality of the seeding, which is normally associated with the sign Aries and war, and I mean, in human history, rape. There's a lot of lack of feminine choice. The way we have built up human civilization, and even what I'm calling the fundament, which is the roots of the tree that are in hell and have been in hell, which I see us as being potentially over if we want it to be. I think people awakening, mass awakening, is people poking their heads out from the underworld for the first time. The thing is, we acclimate to hell, and we make it resemble heaven to some extent. Our vices, the things we indulge in that are bad for us, feel like heaven to us. I've gone through a period, a long 7-year period of diminishing indulgences and things. You learn that health is your actual wealth, and to actually enjoy it without being obsessive, okay? So, in this state of that globe, that is the moon. This is the image of the moon that we idealize, even though what it really means is that the sun and the moon could never be more opposite. Earth is between them. It's like the kids getting in between the relationship of the parents. And that's also another pretty appropriate metaphor for how love has played out thus far on planet Earth. And things can change, and they will change. So it starts, real enlightenment actually starts with the perception and the knowledge that all is actually perfect. This is your starting point in enlightenment. Whatever you see out here, it's not that it is illusion, even. I heard it said recently that Neptune is illusion and Saturn is reality, but now we're learning that Neptune was always reality and Saturn is the illusion. I don't think that's true. I think that's another demonstration of, I'm going to use this term, and I don't understand exactly what people mean when they're saying it, but it's a pendulum. It's just a swing in the other direction that is equally extreme and hopes to balance us out. And that's always going to happen. Okay, I guess in order to become balanced, if you're like this, if the scales are like this, okay, there has to be a big counterweight applied. But, I mean, not as big as over here, like half as big. All right? Maintaining one's center is the most important thing with enlightenment. And this is not about behavior, okay? A lot of people want to know, like, how do you spot an enlightened person? It's not, it's going to vary because we're supposed to be becoming individuals. Everybody wants like a new species name of Homo luminous right now. And I don't think that's an apt title either because it's not a homogeneous light that we're becoming. We're becoming whole unto ourselves and wise. HOLO SAPIENS would be the ideal, so that we all have our unique paths honored. Words and etymology are very important in shaping the future. Mercury, it's the very first planetary principle. Basically, I'm a radical, even among radicals, and I don't understand how it got that way. I'm very timid and mild and gentle. Anyway, so here we are at the Leo full moon, which is the heart. What better time to start a new perspective that all is perfect. But then some days go by, let's say about 7 or 8, and you start to see the cracks, and you're like, oh, things are not all perfect. We have to start weighing things, judging things a little bit, discerning. We have to keep applying our intelligence to existence. Heaven is not just going to be an eternal experience of light where we get to shut off everything. We learn the ways of development, alchemy. I feel like a lot of people use the term alchemy, but they don't want it to be anything other than this super fuzzy concept. Like, we don't want the living reality of transmutation, of taking base metal, iron, or what's Saturn's? Lead. I guess I've moved on to at least iron. I've forgotten about the lead stage. I really do think that's where I'm at in my entire soul's progression, is iron. I have a lot of work to do on my Mars. Lead would be not knowing anything is happening beyond being alive and dealing with what comes at you in life. I would call it enslavement. Like, it is the metal of Saturn, as though Saturn is the slave master. But it is the Saturn in you that needs to be forged, or formed, constructed when you are lead. And then when you work up to iron and copper, and all the planets are associated with a metal. So Saturn is lead, Mars is iron, Mercury is quicksilver. That's language, that's the tongue, that's the mind. Venus is copper. Yeah, I think I've dealt plenty in quicksilver and copper, and I still have to work on those using my Mars, using my iron, in a velvet glove, whatever. So yeah, you start, this is within every single month this cycle plays out. Oh my gosh, all is perfect. Oh, things are not so perfect. I have to discern. And after 7 or 8 days of discernment and work, you get to rest, peace. You can do nothing for a whole week. I've come to see each moon phase, which lasts about a week, as like one day. You have one main objective for each of these days, and that is to see all things as perfect, and then see them as imperfect, and it's okay. And then to rest from this pendulum here. And then you wake from sleeping into this glorious world, and every day can feel like Christmas. That's what spiritual awakening is, and why it transforms people's lives, and yet can really destroy them, because it trains you in waking up to feel like it is Christmas every day, and it is not for a lot of people. So the inside is not reflected by the outside. There are so many misleading platitudes in spirituality that are true when they're true. And that's kind of where we're at when it comes to truth at the moment. Everything that's ever been said or thought, written, discussed, concluded has been true in the moments that it was true, at least through the perspective of the people, because we are all one. Okay, what that means in a Homo sapiens, in a Homo sapiens did all the differentiating. Holo sapiens sees all the perspectives as part of the whole truth. All vantage points of wisdom has been true, even the worst, even when this tribe was destroying this tribe for whatever reason. All along, it's been sides of our own selves destroying parts of our own selves that we don't want to take into our civilization, our future, whatever. And it is a process of weeding out a lot of dumb shit. I mean, there's a reason we've gone through this whitening, this leucosis, which is very Aquarian. Like, strip everything of the emotionality and just look at the bare facts. Look at the science. This helps us to get to what is true, warm, the yellowing, beautiful. But without that stripping away of all the toxic feminine, the truly chaotic, spiraling, the feminine is a spiral in a good way. In the positive, it is slow, continuous, ever expanding. In the negative, it is fast, it is downward, it is down the drain. The shadow of femininity is what we're working on, more so than the masculine shadow at the moment. We're kind of transitioning out of this deep judgment and transmutation of the masculine and moving into well, it's been deep judgment of the feminine forever, but the actual transmutation of, it is the effects of all the abuse of the masculine. But at this point in history, everybody, you, me, everyone, we have lived unfathomable amounts of lives. You've been men, you've been women, you've been other species. You've spent eons basically in ecstatic sexual union and bliss just with other blobs in the ocean. Okay. A lot of humanity is still stuck on sex, and we have to start viewing sex as an energy, because that's what becomes our fire. Okay. I've basically got 2 projects right now. One, I want to start really following the moon with this channel. And then my other one, I'm discussing the twin flames. I'm having a hard time getting going with this one because my concept of twin flames is very much in a processing. Like, the actual experience of romantic love and the polarity dance between our individual selves and other people. I've never had connections that were anything but super synchronous. But synchronicities misled me for a long time to think things were meant to be that were not meant to be. They were just the scales evening in some way. And then finally, the conclusion ends up being, oh, these twin flames are within us. There's a lower flame and there's a higher flame. And in order to become whole, we have to fully integrate these twin flames inside of ourselves and become a Holo sapien. Not just a mishmash of rainbow or homogeneously luminous. We each have our own way of being in the world, and that difference is a tiny fraction of our humanity. Most human beings are 99.9% the same. And then this 0.01% that is our difference. It is the opportunity for our uniqueness rather than homo and like everybody else and in a big cult blob, which is the big danger of all spirituality. So I think it's very important somehow stopping this railroad that spirituality's on right now, wanting to call everybody homo luminous. It's poetic. I like the double M thing. I love the word luminous. But we have to keep our wisdom, and we have to keep developing our wisdom. I packed a lot into this one. Mostly, that's a nutshell of everything I'm all about, which has taken me my entire life to distill. Here's all you need to worry about. The month of February, and 4 moon phases, and maybe hopping onto a new track with our meanings with the moon phases, if you desire. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.